Hello students and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanmanjari Vidyapith for the students of Standard 10, in which we are learning the subject of social science. Students, this is the fifth revision lecture in which we are discussing and revising uh, the completed chapters of social science. In the previous four lectures, we have completed chapter number 1 and half a part of chapter number 2. This is the fifth revision lecture for cultural heritage of India, in which we are discussing traditional handicraft and fine arts. Let us take a quick recap of what we have learnt so far in chapter number 2. We will be discussing the main points only, so that at a bird eyes view, you have the complete knowledge of the methodical way in which the chapter is laid out, plus what all important points that we have to remember. Materialistic and genetic heritage is the first one that we took up in cultural heritage of India, because materialistic heritage and genetic heritage, both of them are quite closely related to cultural heritage of India. Materialistic heritage of India, in that we have all the monuments, nature, forest, historical sites, all that is handed over to us by our ancestors, plus as far as individual is concerned, the property that is handed over to him from his forefathers. It can be property, that is buildings, houses, or it can be jewelry, or it can be money. All that is materialistic heritage. Coming to genetic heritage is the physical features that are passed on from parents to children, such as the color of the hair, the color of the eyes, the color of the skin, height, the uh, the body structure, is all that is passed on from parents to uh, the children. Apart from the physical characteristics and features, uh, mental state of the parents is the uh, mental state of the parents is also passed on from the parents to the children. Yes, so in that way, for example, intelligence, common sense, all those things are passed on from the parents to the children. Next we studied about the traditions, customs, ritual, lifestyle. They also form the basis of the culture, and they are important aspects of the cultural heritage of any country. Education, trade, farming, rules, festivals, all of this is part of the society. For example, the way people got education formally now, the changes that took place in the education system, all belongs to the country, and constantly people go on from the good to the better side of any of these things. For example, if we take education, right, it has certainly evolved and it has become better over the time period. Same way trade, the way we used to trade earlier, the barter system was in use, where things were exchanged because money simply was not there. Then coins, gold coin or gold, silver, these precious metals, gems, diamonds, all this were traded in terms of for getting commodities, etc. Later on, coins came that were minted by the kings and rulers, and then nowadays we have paper currency, we have coins, we have plastic currency also, right? The ATM and the cards that are debit cards, credit cards that are there, that's all plastic money, right? So we have certainly evolved, right, in from something good to even something better. So farming, we know the traditional way of farming with the blocks and the plow. taking a sickle and using the sickle to harvest. Today we have harvesters which harvest the complete field within no time. So all these things earlier also there was some way of doing it. Now we just made it more better. So all that comes under the cultural heritage which is passed on to us. We already have that knowledge and we either add something to it or we change the method, but we do the same thing, or we modify the way we are doing it, or we completely change the way we are doing it, right? But we are able to modify or we are able to change because we have something original to look at and we can do some modification in it. Same way entertainment, art and handicraft. In our ancient literature, 64 types of arts are mentioned, starting from anywhere: weaving, embroidery, clay work, wooden work, inlay work. All these things they are mentioned in the ancient scriptures. Art of clay work is the first of the handicraft that we learned. Uh, the association of men with clay was since the ancient ages. In those ages and those times, uh, men was dependent on it from cradle to grave, that is from birth to death, and whole of his life revolved around the clay work. And we have lots of uh, artifacts discovered from the sites of Indus Valley civilization and the Harappan civilization, like pots and pans and toys and chullas, all that. Next came weaving. From cotton slab we spin the thread, we spin the cotton in order to get the thread. From the thread we make cloth, that is textile. So making thread, spinning. Then we come to hand weaving. Hand weaving is weaving the threads with the hand to make a cloth, so textile is included in. One of the finest example is the muslin cloth which was made in Dhaka, that is today's Bangladesh, but it was famous all over the world as muslin cloth. Carpets are made from lots of different fibers, uh, like cotton also, jute also. Knitting work can be done with the help of threads made out of wool, and sweaters etc. can be made. Patola of pattern. In textiles, patola of pattern has a very important place. That question is of 2, 3 or 4 marks, right? It's quite an important question. During the time of Maharaja Siddharaj Jaisi, one of the Solanki rulers, he invited the handicraft people doing the handicraft, that is artisans, to come and settle in Patan. In that process, lots of weavers came and settled in Patan, and they had a special skill in making patola, a special type of cloth or a sari that can be worn on either side. So it has to be woven in such a way that designs on both the sides look the same, and it's quite an intricate, complicated design to make, and only handful of artisans today know that. It's quite costly also. It is said that the patola will tear, but the color will not fade. That was the reputation that the patola pattern had. Embroidery of work of Gujarat. Embroidery is the work where work is done with needle and quite shiny threads on a cloth. Beautiful designs are made with the help of embroidery. In Gujarat, especially Saurashtra and the Kutch region, they are quite famous for embroidery work. Next we learned about the leather industry, then diamond industry, bead work, animal work, jerry work, metal work, woodwork, inlay work and akik work. All of them were thoroughly explained. Next we came to fine arts. Fine arts we learnt about music, first is painting, then we learnt about music, and then we learnt about the art of dance, in which we learnt about the classical dances, that is Bharatnatyam, Kathak, Kathakali and Kuchipudi. Now let us go ahead with today's lecture, that is Manipuri dance. This is one of the last classical dance that was remaining in the previous lecture. Manipuri dance originated from Manipur in East India. We discussed in the previous lecture that these 4-5 classical dances is few things you remember, the points how to remember it. Yes, first thing is where it is originated, so the state associated with that particular dance, the way of wearing attire or clothes. Yes, that is the costume, that is also very necessary. Each one has different type of costume. And the third one is which are the famous people associated with that particular dance form. So you write this 2-3 points. If it is a single classical dance that is asked, it will cover 2 marks. If it's a long question, then you will have to write 1 or 2 points on all these dance forms. So Manipuri dance originated in Manipur in East India and Northeast India. The people of Manipur, just like us, they dance on every occasion and festival, so lots of their dance is famous. Out of this, we are talking about that is folk dance. Now, this is classical dance that we are talking about. The dance style is chiefly based on Ras Leela and the Bal Leela of Lord Sri Krishna. Lord Sri Krishna, when he was a small child, at that time, the mesmerizing episodes that happened in his life when he was quite young, those were known as the Bal Lila. This, the miracles that happened in the childhood of Lord Krishna, that is depicted in this particular classical dance form. So the dance style is basically or chiefly based on the Ras Leela. Ras Leela is when he was in his youth, is that Ras Leela, and Bal Leela, that means the miracles that were part of the life of the childhood of Lord Sri Krishna. Manipuri dance is divided into two types, Lasya and Tandav. Yes, Lasya and Tandav. Now we come to Lasya and Tandav. Lasya, the softer type of dance, Tandav, the aggressive dance style, that's called Tandav. The plated green, now we come to the attire. What is the attire? What is the dressing code or dress code of the Manipuri dance? The plated green colored petticoat is known as cumin. The plated, that means folded and then stitched. So the plated green colored petticoat is known as cumin, and at the same time silk blouse and a belt are put around the waist. This is the dress code of Manipuri dance. Now the third point that we discuss, the famous personalities that are associated, that means usually they will be the dancers who made this style of or classical style of dance or dance form quite popular in India and abroad. They are Guru Ombi Singh, Atambo Singh, Guru Bipin Sinha, Naina Zaveri, Nirmal Mehta have gained worldwide fame. Out of that, Naina Zaveri and Atambo Singh, they are quite famous all over the world in this particular dance form of Manipuri classical dance. Next we come to fine arts. Again, fine arts, we started with painting, then we discussed music, then we learned about the dance form. Now another part of fine arts is the dramatic art. Now the definition for dramatic art is the art of writing and practicing drama. The art of writing a drama and practicing, that is performing on the stage, both of that is known as dramatic art. Presenting sanskara with entertainment is the unique feature of Indian dramatic art. Usually the dramas presented in the erstwhile era or in the ancient times and even today, most of these dramas they give or they teach us a moral lesson. Yes, they tell us about how men should be or how a woman should be. For example, lots of episodes that are taken from Ramayana, the epics Ramayana and Mahabharata, they tell us, for example, Ram. So Uttam Purush, that is the best men, how a man should be, the behavior of a man. Same way Sita, how the behavior of a woman should be, right? So these things are taught in these dramas. So that is the sanskara that we have. That sanskara is presented, right? Presenting sanskara along with entertainment. Yes. For example, the one of the episodes of Ramayana where Hanuman he sets Lanka on fire. We see the naughtiness of a monkey over there. right? So that is imbibed in the character, that is imbibed in the character. Plus it teaches us lots of other things, like very faithfully serving his lord. In that way, lots of sanskaras are presented, and along with that, entertainment is also presented. Presenting sanskara with entertainment is the unique feature of Indian dramatic art. Apart from this anchor and funny pair of clowns entertain audience is when the scenes change. So the curtains are closed and the uh, audience has to be kept entertained during that break period. So a set of clowns will come over there and entertain, so that the audience doesn't get up and go away and leave the drama altogether. So apart from anchor, funny pair of clowns also keep on entertaining the audience. Dramatic art, writing of drama and performance of drama along with audio video aids. This trio holds the capacity to entertain the people of all age groups. Nowadays we have movie, right? The same thing happens in movie. Yes, audios or the sound clip keeps on going on at the background. Yes, background music is given. Of course, lovely songs are there. Yes, a lot of different sceneries there. High voltage drama is usually there in the movies. So same thing, we come down to dramas, it's the same thing, right? So dramatic art, that is writing of the drama, performing it on the stage with the help of some audio aid and video aid. This trio holds the capacity to keep the audience seated over there and keep on watching, and it entertains all age groups. Dramatic art is an amalgamation of all these arts. Yes, the art of music, the art of singing, performing, all of this dramatic art or drama is an amalgamation, a mixture of all these arts. Describing dramatic art, Bharat Muni says, there is no book, there is no sculpture, there is no knowledge, there is no deed which lacks in dramatic art. Yes, you sit down to study, you give a show as if you are studying, right? So every deed work, whatever work we do, drama is certainly there. So Bharat Muni, way back in ancient time, but certainly knew the future people like you. The first drama was Bharat Muni, very important. We have to remember the name and the drama. The one of the first drama of Bharat Muni was Devasur Sangram, and Natya Shastra by him is well known in the field of art. Now we come to Sanskrit drama. In Sanskrit literature, we have various well-renowned dramatists, lots and lots of Sanskrit dramatists. They have written lots of works in Sanskrit language. Bas is called the poet of poets. Yes, Bas comes at number one position. Yes, because he has beautifully described lots of things in his drama. He has bequeathed us, showered upon us the like blessings, drama like Karnabhar, Urvanga, Dutvakyam, based on Mahabharata. So these are the works of Bharat Muni. Apart from the first one, that is Devasur Sangram and Natya Shastra, we have Bas as a poet who has written in Sanskrit, giving us three more works in Sanskrit, that is Karnabar, Urvanga and Dutvakyam. Next we have poet Kalidas, the most renowned person in Sanskrit language. Foremost poet, gifted us with plays like Abhigyan, Shakuntalam, Vikramavarshiyam and Malvika Agnimitram. All these three works are quite famous, not only India, all over the world. Poet Kalidas is one of the poets whose work in Sanskrit has been translated in many other languages of the world. Such was the depth of his writing. Apart from all the many dramatists came and enriched dramatic art of Sanskrit literature. Now we come to Gujarati dramas. The name Jai Shankar Sundari is taken foremost in the dramatic art of Gujarat, along that is art of Gujarati also. Now there are lots of dramatists who have given some important, valuable contribution in the field of dramatic art of Gujarat. That is Gujarati language. Amrut Nayak, Bapulal Nayak, Dina Pathak, Jaswant Thakkar, Upendra Trivedi, Praveen Joshi, Deepak Giwanadi are taken with lots of, these names are taken with lots of respect because they have given some remarkable dramas. Now we come to one of the important, this can be said as a regional type of drama, that is Bhavai. Script writers have said that Bhavai is emotion oriented drama. Lots of emotions are expressed in there. It is special dramatic art that was started in 700 years ago by Axay Sir. This art which has been providing, first thing is public education, usually that is free of cost, and entertainment at quite an economical rate, promoted during Solanki era. Bhavai is a typical type of drama that is played usually on the roadside, or you can say it is played with very less stage decoration. It doesn't need many musical instruments, it doesn't need costly costumes, plus no entry tickets are there, so for the public it's quite cheap and lots of people come to see it, and it's not based almost on earning purpose. Yes, lots of education, public education is given. It was chiefly performed without any curtains, with a very light humor, and with the music of music that is played on trumpet. Characters are disguised. Characters are the main thing in the Bhavai because everything depends on them. Characters disguised in the form of, these are the important characters and important stories also that are performed in Bhavai. Ramdev Pir, that is Ramdev, Jhanda Julan, Kachoda, etc. are the main features of Bhavai. Theme of Bhavai includes protest against social vices. Yes, lots of lessons are given during Bhavai that seemingly protest the social vices. The characters like Ranglo Rangli are used to promote the programs like girl education, so the girl child. Ranglo Rangli, these characters, they provide lots of entertainment, and on top of that, they spread public awareness. Right? So those who perform the boy play trumpet and pray to the goddess by reciting hymns. Now we come to the folk dances of Gujarat. When we started with the fine arts, that is dance, we had two classification of the art of dance. One is classical dance and one is folk dance. Now folk dance means belongs to the region. It's quite local. For example, for Gujarat, the folk dance will be Garba. For Maharashtra, it will be, folk dance will be Laudi, right? So in that way, it is dependent on particular region, more particular language. So folk dance will have folk music also, vocal music also, which is usually belonging to the local language of that area. So if it is of Gujarat, then mostly it will be in Gujarati. Now folk dances of Gujarat, these, there are varied dance forms belonging to different communities of Gujarat. Lots and lots of communities live in Gujarat, and they have developed their own folk dances. These dance forms are according to the traditions and customs that are followed in the particular communities since ages, and depending on that, they perform these folk dances. Among them, first thing, tribal and folk dances. Garba, Rasa, and many other folk dances are included. So please remember the name. There will be tribal dances, then there will be folk dances pertaining to different communities. Garba, which is general folk dance for Gujarat. Ras is also a general folk dance, and many other folk dances. Such art can be seen at the time of festivals, marriages, and fairs. We first come to tribal dances of Gujarat. Now these dances, they are usually performed when there is a public gathering. For example, there is some big family function like marriage, or there is some community function like a festival coming up. Uh, then it is performed over there in front of the public. That is for entertainment. Even people take part in it and they enjoy. Right, so tribal dance of Gujarat. Tribal dance of Gujarat is seen at the time of festivals. We have harvest festivals, we have sowing festivals, we have festivals which are based on religion or on worshipping gods and goddesses. So that way, lots of festivals are there. So purpose is whenever public gathering is there, people can have entertainment, marriages, fairs, and to please the gods and goddesses. Most of these dances are performed by forming a circle. Usually, even if you see Garba, usually there is a big circle, right? So all these tribal dances, we know tribal, yes, they will have a circle and they will be dancing to the tune of the music and going around and around in circle in performing in with variation in making formation, one person going in, one person going out, and that way they keep on not only rotating that position but revolving around that circle. So most of these dramas are performed by forming a circle around with various traditional instruments like drum, traditional manjira, tabla, da, thali, dholak, whatever, in regional languages. In the dance form known as chalo, name spelling is Chado, yes, spoken as Chalo. Chalo means to imitate. So tribal people, they live in the jungle areas, forested areas, hilly areas. So there are lots of birds, wild animals, those who make lots of bird sounds and animal sounds. So these sounds are imitated by these tribal people. So that's known as Chalo or Chado. Imitate different bird creatures like peacock, squirrel, and sparrow. Dances like Malino Chalo or Takrayo Chalo are seen in Dang area. Dang is one of the forested areas in Gujarat. The district, whole of the Dang district is quite forested, and lots of tribal communities live over there. Tippani dance of laborers, that is Shramhari, those who do physical work, right? Shramhari laborers, performed by the Bhil and the Koli community, is quite famous. Dancers, what happens in this is dancers perform dance in group on the set of thick sticks which are joined on the ground with small sticks. Yes, and they perform the Tippani dance by striking the stick that they have in the hand on the ground. Now we come to another folk dance, that is Garba of Gujarat. The word Garba is derived from Garbhadeep. Yes, Garbhadeep. For example, Garba, the Garbi that we have is, Garbi is that earthen pot with small holes, and we put another lamp in it in the Garb. So that way, Garbhadeep. So the Garba word is derived from Garbhadeep. Earthen lamp is placed inside a whole earthen pot. Dancers keep it on their head and move around in circle. That is the Garba of Gujarat. Garbas are performed especially during the Navratri festival. When is it? Please remember that in the Hindu month, Asa Sud Ekam to Asa Sud Navami, somewhere even up till Dashera. Dasam, that is Dashera, also people perform Garba dance, or Garba dance is performed also on the night of Sharad Punam. Apart from that, Garba whenever you like, right? So Gujarati people perform and sing Garba to worship and pray. Very important to remember Adya Shakti, that is goddess of power, Mother Jagdamba or Ma Jagdamba, right? So some important points you got to write in your answer. Yes, that gets you marks. Generally it is performed in the open ground. Yes, otherwise we perform on terrace also. Yes, that's not the question. Encircling to the mandvi kept in the center of the ground along with strokes of hands and beats of drum. Mandvi is the image of the god or goddess, or the statue of god and goddess. Yes, we keep the statue in the center and we have the garba around the in circular form around the statue. Gujarati poetry known as Garba and Garbi are chiefly associated with Krishna Bhakti. Gujarati poet Dayaram wrote poems in Gujarati which are mostly ladies sing the colorful and emotional Garbi of Lord Krishna's love. Right? So, lots of things can be written about Garbi, but we stick to the portion that is given in the book, the concept that is given in the book as a traditional. No. Garba is to be mentioned as a folk dance, right? So, better don't write anything else, just stick to the words that are given in the material. Next is Ras of Gujarat. Ras, or in English it becomes Rasa. Ras is a dance performed in circle along with singing. It is mainly performed in Gujarat. Main thing is there is a story that Lord Krishna had shown Ras Leela to the devotee or the Bhakt Narsimha Mehta. Narsimha Mehta's dream was that to see Lord Krishna himself performing Ras with gopis, and Lord Krishna had shown Ras Leela to his devotee, that is Narsimha Mehta. Ras is mostly performed in Gujarat during Navratri and Janmashtami festivals. Dandiya Ras is one of its type. Ras can be performed in many ways. Out of that, Ras that is performed along with Dandiya are two small sticks. It is one of the type of Ras, but some people perform Rasa or Ras by placing earthen pot on the head. Yes, a whole earthen pot on the head, and then they move around in circles and perform the Ras. Due to increasing influence of Vaishnava sect, Ras has become more popular because Vaishnava sect is all upon the worshipping of Lord Krishna. So, because Ras is more associated with Lord Krishna, so with the increasing influence of Vaishnava sect, Ras has become more popular. Now, the attire, that is the clothing that is worn during Ras. Women wear traditional dresses like embroidered chanya choli, and men wear embroidered kedia and dhoti when they perform the play, that is, or when they perform the Ras or when they play the Ras. Next we come to Gop Guthan dance. Gop Guthan dance is not only a community dance, but it is played strictly in few regions of Gujarat. It is performed on, first thing, drum beats and tal and the laya of music. Very, very important. Drum beats on the tune and rhythm, it should match. Now, tying of ropes with mandapa or a very high pole, and lots of ropes or simply long cloth is tied, and stripes of clothes are tied from the top, and the players, they catch hold of it, right? So it's either coming from the top of the pole, or it can even be tied on the branch of quite a high tree, and all the strings or ropes or the cloth is then caught by the players, and then they go around and round and making patterns. Meaning is the ropes should be interwoven in an intricate design, so they weave it and then they open the braid or the plait. So they perform dance in group, holding the rope in one hand and dandiya in the other hand. They make creeper like formation, as I said, jo plate hota hai, right, that way it should be turning. So they make creeper like formation, going one inside and the other coming out, other one going inside, one other coming out. So automatically a plate is formed crisscross, and it looks like a creeper, and they again go in the reverse manner, opening that plate. So this way they make and open the guthan, that is the plate. So it is called Gof Guthan. Gof Guthan, to make a plate, that's called Gof Guthan. This style of dance is called Gof Guthan dance. Then next we come to the Tamal dance. We have learnt in chapter number 1 earlier that uh, lots of lots of tribes from the southern part of Africa traveled all the way during the even before the Stone Age, right from the South African uh, part of the African continent, and from there all the way up to Egypt, Arabian countries, Iraq, Iran, and then entered Iran, and then entered today's Pakistan, crossed the Indus, and came to India. We learned the name of the tribe as Negrito or the Negroes. Now they came and settled in many parts of India. Siddhis, presently residing Jampur village. We know in India we call these Negro people as Siddhi people. Yes, so Siddhis now they are presently residing in the Jampur village that is situated in the center of Gir. Originally belonged to Africa, and they perform this dance according to their culture and tradition of Africa. How do they do it? They perform dance by rhythmically striking mashira. Mashira is a coconut shell, yes, that half coconut shell, and they cover it by a cloth and put a deep inside, earthen lamp inside, covered with cloth, wearing peacock feathers, because we have seen that in the Chado also. Mostly these tribal communities, they live in the forest and they live in that environment, and they are more familiar with the bird sounds, animal sounds, so their costume is also like it, making them, or they wear such costumes which show them, or they perform making themselves birds, animals, and making the sounds of animals and birds. They depict the uh, environment that they live in. So wearing peacock feathers and holding small drums in their hands, usually near the chest, and they keep on playing it and they form a circle. They dance with high and low pitch intonation of ho ho sound which echoes in the whole of the forest. Usually forest during the daytime it's very quiet, that much noise is not there, right? In forest usually birds and animal sound will be there, sometimes the wind or breeze sound will be there. Apart from that, the forest will be quiet, and the ho ho sound, because of that intonation, it echoes in the jungle, and they give out high and low pitch of this sound so that it echoes in the jungle. The dance is in a group imitating the voice of animals and birds, that is the environment they live in. Next we come to Merayo dance. This type of dance is seen near the steppe of the Banaskantha region. Toran is woven with tall grass of reed and junjuri. This dance is performed on drum beats and sword sticks, and type of dance is called the Merayo dance. Next is the Padhar dance. This is mainly performed by the Padhar community of the Surendranagar region. We have earlier discussed that some of these some of these communities, they live in particular regions, so the dances are performed in those particular region only. For example, the Merayo dance, we see that in Banaskantha region only. Then we see the Padhar dance. Padhar dance mainly seen in the Surendranagar region only. They dance with Tal and Laya of Dandiya and Manjira. While dancing, they generate scenes like sea waves. Yes, people, they sit down and form wave by standing up slowly in formation, so it looks like a sea wave. Some people make the shape of a boat, so it's as if the boat is riding in the on the waves of the sea. So they create beautiful scenes like sea waves or a ship moving or the sea on the sea waves. The last one of this is Koli and Mare dance. Kolis of Saurashtra perform the Koli dance. While dancing, they hold the madrasyo on head and wear headgear, the turban, decorated with embroidery and mirrors tied with green colored embroidered belt. They wear bait on their waist to perform the dance. Bait, colored stripe of cloth that's called bhet. Similarly, the Mer dance of Saurashtra region and other dances are performed by the Bhuvad community, and they are quite well known. So, with this, we come to the end of today's lecture, plus end of the revision of chapter number 2 that deals with cultural heritage of India, in which we learned about the handicrafts and the fine arts. Thank you, students.